All right, welcome back to American Animals. You're hanging out with Ian McCall as well as Erik Apple. And remember, you find us at 2 American Animals on every single form of social media known to man.
Or the lineupmedia.fm.
That's right.
Website. They've got a whole bunch of different podcasts that are awesome, including my Storytime with Uncle Creepy show, and then this show, of course. So it's there's a lot of good content on there.
There is. And we have our guest this week, and he's another big one. We've been getting some really big guests, a couple champions, and we got yet another one. Mm-hmm. And this is the chosen one, none other than Missouri's own Tyron Woodley. Tyron, welcome to American Animals, champ? Brother.
Man, thank you guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Anytime.
Thank you. We know you've had a super, super busy day out here. The UFC has had you running from 5 a.m. till 6 p.m. today?
Pretty close, man. Pretty close. I've been moving and shaking and trying to pump up this fight, man. UFC 209, March 4th in Vegas. So I'm trying to, make sure these pay-per-view numbers do what they should do.
Nice.
That's right. And now you get a piece of that pay-per-view, so it's all about the promotion, isn't it, Tyron?
I get a little slither of the pie.
Beautiful. That's what I like to hear.
You got to start somewhere. At least you're a partner now. You're a partner, so you got to promote. And you're doing that. I seen you on Sports Center first thing this morning. And, man, you have had a war of words with your former opponent and your soon-to-be opponent, Stephen Thompson.
Yeah, I just got to make things clear. I'm not saying anything that's not true. I just feel as if, some things are clear. I feel like I won the fight. I feel like, at times he did seem a bit entitled. As martial artists, man, we have to earn our key, and I feel like I've earned it the old school way, man. I never was given a handout. I can't remember the last easy fight I had. So with that said, I've gotten to this point. I've always respected the person in front of me, and he seems as if he's the champion. If he's wearing a belt, I'm coming for his strap. So I just have to point those things out.
Well, let's review your fight with him now. The judges gave you guys a draw. I wasn't that surprised. You definitely the fight could have been stopped in the 4th round.
Yes,
judges gave you a 10-8 in that round. But it seems like you kind of hesitated in some of the other rounds that didn't really pressure or use your wrestling to dominate like you did in the first round. Looking back at that fight, it seems like a fight that if I was you, I'd be looking back and go, man, I made a lot of mistakes and it was still a draw and I almost finished in the 4th. If I just perform a little bit better, I'm for sure going to finish this guy.
I feel like you answered the question for me, but I had a little bit more strength to it. I feel that exact way. I feel like even with me only completing 25% of what the game plan was, I feel like I still want to fight. I can get better. I can defend more strikes. I can move forward more. Every time I move forward, those are the times I was landing the meaningful strikes. And I didn't even really take one offensive wrestling takedown. He threw a kick. I countered it. He hit the ground. So with that said, yeah, I can expound upon that performance, use more wrestling, use more planks, use more groundwork, pressure more forward. And with that said, man, I really leave no openings for him to be Wonderboy.
Yeah, I really think that you have. You've shown that you've learned to really control and kind of, learn how to keep your pace for a longer time. Maybe that you've worked more on cardio, but it just seems like you've gotten more comfortable with controlling how to use your aggression, how to use your athleticism, use your speed and your power. So it seemed to really last for the whole 5 rounds. And damn, man, you looked really good. I'm not gonna lie, it was beautiful.
Well, I appreciate it, man. A lot of people are surprised because they just hear these, oh man, you got all those muscles, you're gonna get tired. they hear it and nobody wants to do research. Nobody want to pick up a book. Nobody want to ask an expert on the area. We want to hear a soundbite. We'll listen to, someone say, hey, man, a person with a lot of muscles, man, it come at a cost, man. You want to hit that gas. We listen to that, but how many times did you see that happen with Mike Tyson or Bo Jackson or Walter Payton or Herschel Walker? These people are built the same way. You do have to know your body. I know my body very well. I've been this muscular since I was a kid. And I know how to operate. I know how to move with these muscles. So with that said, I think I'm just being a more patient fighter, and I'm looking at my opportunities a little bit more wisely. And that's probably what guys are noticing. It's not so much I'm doing, I'm actually doing less. Before I was doing too much. I'm doing less, and I look better in fights.
I've done that a lot. I've changed camps, and I've really tried to tailor the camp to me not getting hurt, to me having more energy. And I'm a month out, and I've never felt this good before a camp. And all my workouts, I mean, are at most 90 minutes, more like an hour. They're real short. I get what I need to get done, and then I get out and I relax. I get a lot of recovery time.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you don't have to prove it, and you guys are at a lighter weight, man, so you guys can keep a pace and a speed that a welterweight can't keep. I can't fight like you or Demetrius Johnson or Joseph Benavidez, all these other guys, so you know that the weight, you know how the opponents are going to be competing, so you have to train so you can be the most competitive, so you got to be smart.
Tyron, is this fight, is it frustrating for you? Or, I know that you were looking to move on. You were talking about fighting Bisping and looking at other opponents. Is it frustrating, or is it starting to get easier for you because Stephen Thompson's been a little disrespectful, and do you almost want to teach him a lesson?
I mean, I wish I could teach his damn fans a lesson.
or his dad.
Terrible fans. Goodness gracious. I want to line them up one by one and spin and we'll kick them. But for me, it's not. So I never take it personal. I always respect my opponents. It will be easier to prepare for him this time. The first time around, I just wasn't used to the martial art, and I submerged myself in his background. And it took about 2 or 3 weeks before I even felt comfortable blocking just a simple side kick. So for me to get to the point where, he only landed 3 or 4 kicks the whole fight. He was scared to throw the kick because he paid the big price in the opening round. So if I can take away his biggest gifts, his ability to blitz, throw kicks, and I can neutralize him, what is he going to do, wrestle me?
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, that's what I was alluding to before. Is I feel like that Stephen Thompson, he pulled off a draw with you, but I feel like that was as good as his performance was going to get. Like, what else could have gone right for him in that fight?
Exactly.
Yeah, he had a great performance. I really disagree with any judge. 2 judges didn't give the 4th round a 10-8. I disagree with that. You don't score points for surviving. If I'm in a fight and I get beat up 4 minutes and 55 seconds and I look like, and I pop my head out and like, I didn't get knocked out or I didn't get choked out, it's still a 10-8 round. That point was deducted because it was extremely dominated one-sided round. He was knocked down 2 to 3 times in a round. He was in 2 to 3 different submissions. He was bleeding. It looked like the referee could have got involved. And even when he popped his head out, he didn't land any blows. So what they say, I agree with you. He cannot make up years and years of high-level wrestling, years and years of just being explosive, train hard, the mentality, just the body type. He can't make up those things. I don't care who he brings in. He can bring in Dan Gable and Chael Sanderson. He's not going to make it up in 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's the thing that so many people forget in this sport is they forget where they came from. They forget their roots. And that's going to lead me to my next question with you. You said after the fight you don't know why you used more wrestling. And we see it more and more these days in the UFC and in MMA. Guys with great grappling backgrounds are turning into boxers and kickboxers, and they forget their roots. How do you stop from doing that and go back to what makes you a winner in addition to your hands?
I did do that. I did that, in this fight. I did that in several fights. You can't forsake what got you there. And I did that in this fight. And, I went back to the drawing board a couple of times, and I incorporated so much more wrestling. Not only is wrestling going to put you in a different mindset, it's a grind. Your conditioning level goes to the roof. You're doing that really competitive wrestling, or even a really high-pitched drill. So this fight camp and this training camp, I will wrestle more. I will put myself in a position where, I'm attacking more, not just with my hands, but also with my wrestling. So I agree with you, and, I'm guilty of it, and it could have cost me the fight.
I mean, we see it all the time where, people like you, again, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, he can wrestle with anyone on the planet for the next 3 months, and it's not going to matter. It's not going to make up the difference. So it's like, why do you want to play his game when he can't stop yours?
Sometimes it's just an ego. I want to show you that, I can knock you. I can outstrike you, and I did outstrike you.
Yep.
Maybe we chop that up and say, hey, I proved that. I got that out the bag. And Duke Ruger said it best. He said, I'm not your striking coach. He said, I'm your winning coach. He said, don't not use your wrestling. If you got 20 years of wrestling, why wouldn't you use that? He said, think about George St. Pierre, a buddy of mine, Lynn Odie. I think you know Lynn from when you did the Warrior.
I know Lynn, yeah, of course.
So Lynn told me, he said, Tyron, you got 20-plus years of wrestling. George St. Pierre was one of the greatest welterweights ever because he only lost 1 or 2 rounds total in an 8-year span. Because he understood timing. He understood when to wrestle, when to clinch, when to take down, when to use his space, when to brawl, when to bang. So he put it together in every piece. And I think, it's silly not to take that rubric and not to look at what George did and start to mimic, at least some of his strategies.